Hello, my name is Jack Cox, author of Love Not Fear. I want to talk to you a little bit today about trauma. Now, I've been working recently with an American guy called Ridgway, who has a very interesting take on trauma. He talks about the 5 spells from hell. Of course, he's not talking about spells in a magical sense. He's talking about disempowering beliefs. And his 5 spells from hell are not safe to be. You're in the womb and you can sense that your mother's stressed, or that she may even be considering an abortion, or she's having an argument with your father, and you just feel that it's not safe to be born into this world. So not safe to be. And then as a baby, maybe you wake your parents up in the night quite a lot when you're very, very small. All babies do. And, they may get irritated with you. Or you're chucking your food out of your high chair, I don't know. And they get cross with you, and you very soon learn that it's not safe to be me. And then as you get a little bit older, you start wanting things. Even as a baby, you start wanting things. You want to go on the titty. Who doesn't? You want to be fed. You want your nappy changed. And that may not be forthcoming in the time frame that your little baby brain thinks it should happen, and you feel that it's not safe to be me wanting. And then you get a little bit older and you start asking for things. So you want sweets, you want toys, you want a bicycle. And your parents shame you for wanting stuff. They can't afford it. They're ashamed that they can't afford it. But rather than admit that, they transfer the shame to you for wanting it. They call you selfish and greedy, and you learn it's not safe to be me wanting. Not safe to be me asking. And then maybe you get lucky, maybe you get lucky and you actually get what you asked for. I remember when I got my first bicycle. I was about 11 or 12, I suppose, 13. And I'd been begging for this bicycle so I could ride to school. And eventually they conceded and bought me one. And then every time I was naughty, every time I didn't live up to their expectations, up to their standard, they shamed me by saying, we sacrificed to give you that bicycle, and this is the way you treat us. So then we learn it's not safe to be me receiving. And that's the 5 spells from hell, according to Ridgway. But there are more, aren't there? There's, maybe you're angry at the way you've been treated by your mum or your dad. And you go to your grandma's house and they all pour out, expecting some sympathy, and all you get is told off for not being grateful for what you're given. And you learn it's not me to be me feeling, or it's not safe to be me feeling anger or feeling hurt. And you may be spurned in love, and you learn it's not safe to be me loving. I don't know what the percentage are, but most marriages end after about 8 years, don't they, on average? A friend of mine, a very dear friend, once said to me, "Where does the love go, Jack?" And I said, "It doesn't go anywhere. It just gets buried under a whole ton of pain." Yeah. So, yeah, you could invent as many of these spells as you want, really, can't you? And I talk a lot in Love Not Fear about the ways that these 5 spells are traumatic. They're ways that trauma becomes frozen in our bodies. And in Love Not Fear, I talk about the different ways that we traumatize each other. Our very economic system is based on traumatizing each other. You know, whether you live in a capitalist society where people make their money at a profit, you buy stuff and you sell it at a slightly higher price. You know, your corner shop, any shop. I used to have shops. And you know, it's a legitimate way of making a living. We had to live, we had to pay rent and mortgage and staff. We couldn't give stuff away for what we paid for it. It would completely defeat the object. The object was to make a profit, to turn a profit. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the laissez-faire economic system. I mean, just look at how much you charge. You want to put enough on so that you can pay your expenses and survive yourself, and survive quite comfortably yourself if you're lucky and you work hard. But there's a ceiling on what you can charge, and that ceiling is what people are prepared to pay. People have a choice, they can go and shop elsewhere. So that's the laissez-faire system, and there's nothing wrong with that, as far as it goes. But then it gets out of hand, it goes too far, people take it too far. We get these huge multinational corporations that use the system to bully smaller companies and individuals. Just look at the way the supermarkets bully the farmers into accepting very, very low prices. And that becomes the unacceptable side of capitalism. Or maybe you live in a communist society where the only ones that thrive are the party officials, and everybody else is kept down under the thumb. And that's no better. It's a lot worse. But in Love Not Fear, I talk about the possibility of a third economic model, which is very successful in tribal societies, the free gift economy, where if I have, there's something that I say a lot, I think it's something that I write a lot. If I had 2 bicycles and you didn't have one, in a communist society, I'd take both those bicycles and give them to party officials. In a capitalist society, I'd sell one of those bicycles at a profit. But in a free gift society, you'd simply say, hey mate, you haven't got one, I've got 2. You take one of mine. Don't pay me back, pay it forward. No money changes hands ever. Because everybody carries on doing the work they're doing now, and they don't have to be paid for it because nobody's charging them for anything. And I'll say that works very well in small-scale tribal societies. Whether we can scale it up to international trade, I don't know, maybe one day. I think there's got to be the direction of travel, you know? And politics. We're so used to this top-down authoritarian model of politics, whichever party's in power. You know, they all seem to think that you vote for them and they can do what they like for the next 5 years, and you don't matter. So that's traumatic. And the whole book is about different ways that we can live without traumatizing each other. I nick a catchphrase from the movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Be excellent to each other, dudes. If we could just be excellent to each other, you know? Yeah. Be so simple. So, anyway, if you want to work with Brian Ridgway, I will put his details down in the show notes. And there's a very good friend of mine, Juliet Yelverton, who also does excellent therapy work. And if you want somebody in this country rather than somebody in America, you might want to go and see her. She's based in Glastonbury. I'll put her notes, her contact details down in the show notes as well, together with the links to a book she's written on the subject. So that's it really for today. Oh, just one last thing. Jesus, or Yeshua as he's more properly known, told us to be like little children. I think what he meant by that was to try to get back to the mental state we had when we were little children, before we were traumatized. And if you want to do that, then follow Brian or Juliet, or go to them for help. Or there's plenty of other places you can go for help. So I'll put some links below in the show notes, and I'll see you again next time. Namaste.